Well, it's an exciting time to catch up with Dean Elliott, the Chief Executive of Harness Racing South Australia. Dean, it's been an exciting week, but before we get into it, I thought we'd talk through the journey, because when you moved into the role as CEO, you made it very clear the industry needed to take a step backwards before you could go forwards.
Hello, Adam. Yeah, great to be with you, and that's 100% correct. I guess we don't spend a lot of time looking back in this game, as you know, but if we do reflect for a moment, November 2021 was a time that the industry really needed to come together and make some tough decisions, and that was centred around a redistribution of prize money, which I think is what you're alluding to there in terms of taking a step back to take a step forward. That was embraced by, firstly and foremostly, our participants, and we were able to forge ahead. So last week's announcements were, really pleasing to be able to deliver on that promise, that we can, grow a bigger, better future together. And that all started with that prize money announcement that led into a suite of other great pieces of news that we can really look forward to for later in this season and also heading into next year.
It must have been so rewarding for you, but at the end of the day, some satisfaction for what's been a really hard baptism of fire in the role.
Yeah, that's right. And I feel that South Australian racing in general needed a little shot in the arm. I feel like that's a reasonable thing to say and agree on. And luckily, we have a great relationship between all three codes, and we've lobbied strongly to government, firstly centred around the POC tax and that rebate element that the government contributes back to all three codes. And we're able to tick that box. And then I guess internally from a harness racing perspective, we achieved two other financial windfalls that when combined together, they're quite powerful. One of them on their own wouldn't have been a game changer, but put all three together and at the right time as well, we were able to forge ahead with these announcements that I think will, incentivize and help grow our industry. And really, we just need that little bit of spark for that momentum to grow. And as well as anyone, Adam, the outcomes that come from, growing horse population and field sizes and turnover and what that will lead to, financially and also culturally for our industry. We know where South Australia has been in the past, so that ceiling has got the potential to rise. And it's really good to be here in part of that incline, because for so long there was a lot of difficulties that needed to be navigated through, and absolutely some of them are still on the table. So it's not a matter of job done at all, but this now gives us an opportunity to move forward.
Yeah, and I think move forward in a way where you've taken the industry along for the ride, good, bad, or indifferent, and now you're in a good phase, so to speak. So we'll call them, in racing terms, the quaddie of lovely announcements last week. So, and naturally, the first one that you guys wanted to get out there was the stake money and the prize money increases as well. Just take us through some of the elements of that.
Yeah, that's right. So we're supporting the industry with some prize money increases across the board, and that goes for our premium meetings on a Saturday night at Globe Derby, to our weekday meetings, which are normally held on a Monday afternoon, as you know, and of course feature prize money as well, which we might touch on in a moment. So making sure that all of those areas were looked after, because the only way we grow is to ensure that each segment is given appropriate attention, and we can create and tailor a program, whether it is for participants, owners, breeders, stakeholders, and so forth. So year on year, there'll be almost $1 million in prize money increase to those Saturday and Monday meetings, which is, it's significant, and it enables us to create a matrix that is, I think, quite favourable, and those looking interstate that might want to re-engage with South Australia, in addition to our fantastic rusted on participants that have been doing a great job for many years, look at this and can say, okay, we can work with this, we can grow our ownership base, we can grow our stables, we can replenish stock now with confidence, knowing that these changes, not only are they on their way, but they've already been launched, as of July.
Yeah, and I think that's a key, isn't it? Because confidence is the key. If people are going to look to buy a horse from interstate or New Zealand or wherever it might be, they now know what the playing field is, and it's more positive than it was before last week.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we rely on a lot of interstate recruitment for our horses, a little bit from New Zealand as well, but mainly interstate. And we do have a breeding industry here, which we're helping to, bolster up and support as much as we can. But in reality, that tried horse population is really important. It sort of underpins, especially that older age category for us here in SA.
So let's get into that Southern Cross bonus scheme as well, because it is absolutely crucial, isn't it, to support those that have been there through thick and thin, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. That's a really good way to put it. It's the backbone of our industry. It's our breeding and racing scheme, and we've been able to identify some key areas there to help upgrade and evolve. And firstly would be the 2 and 3 year old ranks, if I can put that in one group. Also our local breeders and the longevity of the scheme as well. So for the 2 and 3 year olds, in addition to paying those winners bonuses that are quite attractive, sort of between $5,000 and $6,000 at 2 and $5,000 and $6,000 at 3, we'll also be paying a portion of the bonus element for place getters, and we feel like that will, incentivize and encourage more 2 and 3 year old races to be held. As you know, with a lot of those ranks of races, there's a big difference between, the best horse and then some of the others. So that might detract some people willing to run in it. But if there's a Southern Cross place element on the line, on the table, hopefully that will enable those races to be conducted more frequently. Also, we're essentially doubling the commitment back to the breeder for when those horses do win, to further encourage and highlight their great contribution. And thirdly, we'll program some Southern Cross bred only races for the older horses. So, there's a lot of horses in the state and also across the border as well with our friends that are running around. And we thought, well, this might help attract some back and further support the older population to create some Southern Cross only races for them as well, which, further highlights and celebrates the scheme as a whole too.
And Dean, just the importance of acknowledging the rising costs with the drivers who go between the meetings and again have probably been through some pretty tough times. You acknowledge them with an increase last week.
Yeah, that's right. It might not have been our biggest announcement dollar-wise, Adam, but I'm sure no one. Yeah, I'm sure no one can deny it. Some of these incentives are about, and announcements are about, bridging that gap nationally, and I think we can all see that was very much a requirement. We've got some fantastic talent in our driver ranks, and being able to hear some quotes and speak to, at least 3 of our major players in that area, being Wayne Hill, who does drive and participate a lot interstate, Sam Pascoe, who's one of our young guns and been our leading young driver for the last couple of seasons, and Ryan Rohoric, who is our leading by wins, driver trainer, so sort of they've all got a different take on it, but ultimately a positive one. And it helps, I think it'll help in time formalise a portion of the industry that can now put a little bit more time into the racing side of their lives. They're balancing life with juggling a few different balls. And with all of these announcements combined, I think it will encourage them to say, well, yeah, we can dedicate more time, which will then raise the standards across the board, really. Those flow-on effects, some of them, those consequences are, some really positive and potentially unintended ones. But to get the ball rolling, I'm excited to see what the future brings.
And South Australian Cup night, absolutely iconic at the height of its time. Now, you're not going to get back to that overnight, but you've taken a step towards resurrecting it. Yeah,
that's right. We're resurrecting it and rejuvenating it, replumbing it, rewiring it, as all those great footy coaches.
Putting it back on the map. I like that.
Putting it back on the map. And we felt like we've identified a perfect time of year and a great little spot on the national calendar for us being Saturday, the 28th of October. In the thoroughbred world, that's Cox Plate Day, but in the harness racing world, I feel like we'll have a pretty clear run at it on that night. It'll be a heats into finals concept. We've got a relaunched $60,000 Pacing Cup and a $40,000 Trotters Cup to go with a really good undercard that includes our Derby, a Golden Nursery for 2-year-olds, and some other nice events as well. It'll be a heats into finals concept, and there'll also be 2 win and you're in races, a fortnight and a month out the pacing and the Trotters Cup as well. And this year, for the first time in a couple of years, and in the spirit of relaunching it, the borders will be open, and we're encouraging everyone to come across and try their hand at this as well. So it's something, yes, it's not a life-changing amount, but I feel like in terms of what these finals are being run for, it will help set a tone, and also something that we can grow in years to follow. And in addition, we're sort of creating a number of events and everything that I might need to speak to you about getting you over for, but without committing here on the spot. But, creating a race that's a flag bearer in the spring for us that we can really sink our teeth into and be proud of. It will also complement our our autumn equivalent, which is the SA Country Cup Series, which culminates at Port Pirie. So do two different concepts, but having a spring cup and an autumn cup, and both concepts that we can be really proud of, I think that will just be something that we can just stand a little bit taller together with, and make some great plans and do some fantastic promotion in the lead up to.
Yeah, terrific. It was certainly one of my, in my mind, you might have saved the best for last, but then again, I'm not one of your participants over there, Dean. Look, thanks so much for sharing the news. Congratulations to you and everyone involved. It's one thing to drop the announcements, but the work that's gone into it as 3 codes in South Australia to get to this point, and then for you to be able to sit down with the team and the participants and work out the best way of allocating that is a job well done. Thanks for taking us through it today.
Thanks so much, Adam, and thanks for all your support as well, particularly on social media, getting all the messaging out. Thank you.